My name is Jacob, and you're watching my show about literature. And only literature. Noblesse Oblige is a French term which describes the inherent responsibilities tied to the hereditary positions of nobility. The main thrust behind this phrase is that individuals who possess authority or power over others have an obligation to perform their roles justly. It's an ageless concept that pops up everywhere from political theory to Spider-Man. I'm sure that everyone has heard Uncle Ben caution Peter Parker that with great power comes great responsibility. But how does this concept relate to Conan the Barbarian? Well, if we take a look at American history and culture, we can see that this idea has everything to do with Conan the Barbarian. For those of you who aren't familiar with the origins of the United States of America, this country began as a collection of colonies established by foreign powers in Europe. Eventually, the colonies on the eastern portion of the continent fell under the control of the British Empire, which was, at that time, ruled by King George III. Now, because of a series of legislative acts, namely the imposition of certain taxes and tariffs, and what was determined to be several violations of civil liberties, the American colonies staged a revolt and ultimately secured their independence from the British Empire. So here we see the basis for the rejection of monarchies in America. Having seen firsthand how authority could be mishandled when left in the hands of one person, they sought to establish a government and incidentally a culture that favored a more democratic approach. This meant moving away from the oligarchic structures of Europe, which assigned positions of leadership primarily on the basis of heritage, and adopting a system which, in theory, awarded the most qualified individual with authority. From its inception, the United States has always promoted the idea of individualism and the values of existing within a meritocracy. Being an American myself, I can personally attest to this fact. To this day, I continue to hear an unending stream of rags to riches stories which describe how people achieve their dreams through hard work and dedication. In contrast, stories about family dynasties who pass on their wealth to descendants, or individuals who accomplish their goals by riding on the coattails of their good names, are villainized. This individualistic culture was as true for Robert E. Howard as it is for me today, and reflects itself in the character of Conan, especially in the stories where he is the king of Aquilonia. These tales give the reader an explicit picture of American individualism and ideology. We discover from the text that the previous king of Aquilonia, Noblesse, was the hereditary descendant to the throne and was, by all accounts, a completely ruthless king. His hangmen maimed and blinded men whose sons died in his dungeons, whose wives and daughters were dragged into his seraglio. He ruled Machiavellian-like through terror, and his subjects were only given relief when Conan invaded the country and killed him personally. This is not to say that Conan did so out of any sort of compassion for the people. It's clear that his ambitions were to conquer Aquilonia and nothing else. What's puzzling, though, is his response to assuming the position as king. He remarks that, "I did not dream far enough, Prospero. When King Noblesse lay dead at my feet, I tore the crown from his gory head and set it on my own. I had reached the ultimate border of my dreams. I had prepared myself to take the crown, not to hold it." So Conan finds himself in the Joker's predicament, where he finally catches a car he's been chasing all of his life and has no idea what to do with it. And what would a plundering barbarian understand about running a country anyway? He has no political experience. But Howard uses this situation to illustrate why Conan is the ideal leader for Aquilonia. Noblesse squanders and abuses his power as king because of his sense of entitlement. He is able to do as he pleases because he is the kingdom's inherited ruler. It's a position that he possesses because it was something that he was destined to receive. His personal aptitude for ruling Aquilonia has no bearing, only his heritage matters. So for the sake of his bloodline, the kingdom suffers. Conan, on the other hand, doesn't suffer from the illness of nobility. His origins are simple and his lineage common. This sets him up to be the champion of the people. Not only does he understand their day-to-day existence and what it's like to be on the bottom of the barrel, he respects the power that he earns through hardship. Conan didn't start out as the strapping, sullen figure that he becomes later on in life by lounging around on couches and dreaming about adventure. All of his accomplishments were earned through blood, sweat, and tears, with Aquilonia being no exception. As he remarks to Amalurus, "You sit on satin and guzzle wine the people sweat for, and talk of divine rights and sovereignty. Bah! I climbed out of the abyss of naked barbarism to the throne, and in that climb I spilt my blood as freely as I spilt that of others. If either of us has the right to rule men, by Crom it is I." And as fiercely as he fought to attain the throne, so he strives to keep it and maintain it according to his values. There's a definite sense of justice in Conan's nature, one that I would say that he acquired by observing the injustices of nobles and aspiring to live a life counter to theirs. There's a great scene between Conan and Sotha in the Scarlet Citadel, where Sotha tries to bribe the barbarian king into abdicating his throne. Even though it would mean almost certain death, Conan would not sell his subjects to the butcher. And yet, it had been with no thought than any other's gain but his own that he had seized the kingdom originally. Thus subtly does the instinct of sovereign responsibility enter even a red-handed plunderer sometimes. Despite the fact that Conan possesses not a single drop of royal blood in his body, he's more than capable to rule Aquilonia. The Numidians never had a chance against this guy. This distinction was included by Howard to illustrate the concept of Noblesse Oblige and was influenced by the unique culture of American individualism. Thanks for tuning in. As always, if you like what you see, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts on Noblesse Oblige, American individualism, and their interaction with Robert E. Howard's work, please leave a comment below. Stay tuned next time as we look at the influence of Darwinism on Conan the Barbarian. Peace!